sporting the logo. This is our D&D team. And
Plus,
right there, plus guests.
Plus
guests. We are rolling to Ragnarok, and we're just going to talk about hobbies and how you can make money from your hobbies and things like that. So, the way you want to introduce yourself, and we'll kind of go from there.
My name is Wade Stark. I've done everything in the realm of marketing, from owning my own esports team to working with celebrities and celebrity chefs and stuff to grow their audience online, to now running a D&D company that is apparently taking off and doing really well. These are our guests Samantha and Tweet, and you can talk about your stuff, please.
Sure, yeah. So hi guys, I'm Sam. I am with an organization called Zoufflé. This is Fushi. I call him Fushi because this is online alias. And he is actually part of the organization with me. Zoufflé is an esports team. It's primarily online, but not only is it an esports team, it's also an organization where we offer tournament services to organizations and nonprofits. The American Cancer Society was just speaking a few moments ago, and they were interested in collaborating with us to help organizing tournaments in the area, and so kind of like that is kind of what we do. In addition, we have an internal esports team. Fushi is on that team. Just a few weeks ago, we went to Texas to participate in Rising Grind for the Super Smash Bros. Tournament. So primarily we're Super Smash Bros, but we're looking to add more titles in the future. And we do a lot of outreach to nonprofits as well and other communities to help diversify esports. The thing that differentiates us with other esports team is that we're very diverse. We're very inclusive as well. We don't look for team members based on skill level. That's not important to us. What we look for is, as long as you uphold our core values in terms of diversification and inclusiveness, we want you on the team. Everything else, we can help progress your skill. That will come later, but as long as you uphold our core values, that's what we're looking for. So that's kind of who we are and what we do. Again, and this is Fushi. I don't know if you want to say a couple words.
Yeah, so I'm Tweet online, I'm called Fushi. And what's nice about Zoufflé Nation is that I came in as a way to look for something to relax with, to get away from my day. And what came out of it was a community that you can grow with. I had my skill level and only progressed further from there just by getting to meet people, talk to people, and people I've only met Sam today.
Yeah.
And that's just how incredible this community can be. You get to meet people, you get to know people, and you learn all about them and about this game and what else there is to this game that you grew.
Hi everyone, I'm Dylan. Nice to meet you. Happy to be here. I flew in from Florida yesterday with my sister Alex. I've been playing with Wei and the group in our online D&D session since about June, and I really just do this for fun and for the vibes. But I also enjoy my paid job as well. We'll talk about that later.
Hi everyone, my name is Alex. I go by Any Venture Online. I make a lot of videos regarding anime and manga. I almost have my own personal library of 1,000 volumes of just manga itself. So yes, I just recently counted. So I do that, but also I participate online in our D&D group as well, and we've been recording those. So I work with social media in my paid job, but also being able to make some additional money from this hobby that I have of connecting with people online is something I am very passionate about, being able to make videos, make graphics, use different programs. So I'm excited to be able to speak with all y'all today.
Good.
Alright, so again, I'm Morgan Mogul. You might know me as Bramble, the little hedgehog that could, or Crosses, the great king of Sean, and half the world. That is an official title, by the way, just so you know. What I actually do, though, is I help local businesses get more traffic leads and sales by integrating AI into their marketing.
The bigger thing I want to talk about is about hobbies in general, what people want to do. So I want everyone to raise their hand, and I'm going to pick on 3 people, and tell me what your hobby is. Because mine is Smash Bros. And I have found a lot of fun and made a lot of friends with that. What's your hobby?
Witchcraft.
Witchcraft.
Oh, I love that.
What's yours?
I'm big on strategy games.
Strategy games. That's a good one. What's yours?
Party Animals.
Party Animals?
The
Tell me
new
about that
game. Well, it's a new game on Game Pass.
Okay.
It's about fighting.
Okay.
You can be on teams. There's 3 different choosing things.
Okay.
Team,
Yeah.
and visual, and arcade things.
Okay. And something lovely about games is like with the evolution of like Twitch and YouTube, you can stream it and you can show friends, even strangers, and you can make friends through that way. So that's one way we can try to make these hobbies into a career.
And just jumping off of what Fushi just said, so originally I actually, before the Zoufflé, the esports thing, I actually started as a content creator. Particularly, even before I used to stream, but even before that, I was an Instagram content creator. So I took a lot of photos of my gaming room. My gaming room went viral. If you look up boyfriend, girlfriend, game room, there's a picture where one side is really white and pink, and the other side is like black and blue. That's mine. It's all over the internet.
It was
It's really awkward now because like we're no longer together, so it's an awkward conversation to have whenever it comes up. But anyways, really awkward. But so that's where I started at first, and it kind of blew up from there. At first, I just did it because I loved it. I love pink gaming accessories. I wanted to show my my hobbies with everyone else, and honestly, it turned into an accident. It became very profitable. I was making money at the end of the day. After a while, I exploded on Instagram. I got to 50,000 followers on Instagram within just a few months. And companies were reaching out to me to, they were sending me free products to help review and stuff like that. And I was running out of room where to put all these stuff. So I just started giving them away to people. And it honestly blew me up even more because I started doing raffles on my Instagram. And that's kind of where I got my start into turning my hobby into a career. And just really fast forward, and I'll talk a little bit more about this later, but fast forward to now, I own an esports team. Fushi's on that team. I also work for Electronic Arts as well as a senior communications specialist. So gaming is literally my life, both my hobby and my career. So I'll stop there and then.
I remember when you were getting a bunch of stuff and doing reviews about stuff too. One of the things I liked a lot is you always said exactly how you felt about it.
Oh yes.
Like it was
Very
like she was not bought. It was great.
Oh yes.
I used to love that.
Thank you. And so a lot of reviews, especially in the kawaii is what we call it, gaming accessory space, where a lot of the tech is very cutesy. A lot of the people who are given these products, obviously they want to make face and I guess promote their sponsor in the best light as possible. And in a way, I did do my best to do that, but I still, personally, my values wanted to be transparent as possible.
Right.
So if a product was trash, it was trash. Obviously, I didn't word it that way. I tried to be very professional about it, but also just,
So you didn't call it cute trash?
I didn't say cute trash, I try to make it way so it was fair. So if I said something wasn't appropriate for very heavy gaming, I'm a heavy gamer. But if it was something that was more appropriate for casual gaming, maybe like playing a casual game of Stardew Valley like a controller, right? I would make sure to say something like that, it was appropriate for more casual gaming. But in terms of a heavy gaming, probably not. It might break in a couple of months, So I was very fair and transparent. So, yeah.
Well, I think that brings up a really great point about authenticity. Is that it's that is how you want your hobby to be. Is that you are so passionate about what you like and what you enjoy. But I think some people do get caught up in getting sponsorships or getting free products and feeling like they have to say something or do something in a specific way, and that's not going to give you credibility with the people who follow you or the people that you work with. So was there ever a situation where you were given something where people were upset with the way that you gave your honest opinion?
Yes, actually.
I'm
Yes,
sorry.
and Wade's laughing.
I think it's important to talk about.
No, Wade is laughing because he probably knows what I'm going to say. But yes, and it was a very big company. They were not happy with me. But you know what? I was proud of myself at the end of the day because I stood my ground. I knew where my values were.
Because you were in the right.
Yeah, and I never lost sight of it. And I'm not going to name the company now because I'm live streaming. But but it's a company a lot of you are probably familiar with. But it's a very large gaming chair company. They specialize in this pink bunny chair. It's all over TikTok. A lot of content creators have it, but that chair is so bad. The quality is awful, and I don't know. Like I'm a plus size person. The chair, at the end of the day, like it would just hurt me. Like it was painful to sit
Because
in.
of those wings.
Yeah, the wings are very narrow. I'm not a narrow person, and so it was just and I said my piece. I contacted the company and I asked for a refund, and it went all downhill from there. And I gave a very transparent view of what the situation was. They were not. They were not understanding, and I said my piece on Instagram where all of my followers were, and my followers were very divided on their issue. A lot of them agreed with me and disagreed with me, but at the end of the day, I knew where I stood, and I knew I wanted to be as authentic as possible and as transparent as possible about my experience and my experience with this company. At the end of the day, it wasn't a sponsorship at the time, and I'm glad it wasn't because, maybe I would have felt a little bit more conflicted about giving my honest review on it, but I'm glad I did because people out there need to know the truth, about certain products are just not up to certain standards. So
To jump off of that too, like I've been teaching content creators and different influencers how to build their numbers and how to build their audience over time since 2007. And one of the things that you always see is a lot of people when they're first coming to me, they're like, hey, I want to be a content creator like this person. And I'm like, that's cool if you have this person, this idea of what kind of content you want to do, but there's no reason to mimic them fully. Do your own thing because authenticity, actually finding your group, your audience is going to help you grow so much better than trying to be do exactly what Ninja's doing or do exactly what Westerman's doing or something like that. There's no reason. I think one of my favorite people that I watch now, he's a food content creator on YouTube, but if you watch the first couple of his videos, he opened the cabinet like Westerman does, and if you ever seen this stuff, Westerman he's always either opening a cabinet and talking to you as this is my intro, or opening a freezer door and talking. And he's like, I want to do that too. And I'm like, that's cool you want to do that, but you don't have to pigeonhole yourself into everything he's doing. So now his stuff is he talks about the fact that he also plays cards. So he makes Pokemon decks and talks about him like he's a chef. So all the ingredients to the deck are all the cards in his deck are ingredients and stuff like that. And it just worked out really well. But finding your own niche and finding your own kind of voice, but then being really true to that is kind of what is the best way to grow. 100%, so much better than everything else. There's so many master classes you can take that have good ideas and good stuff in them, but there's so much stuff you can find for free online to just learn how to grow different things and ideas. There are all these people that are oh man, if you know the algorithm, you can't do this. So if you buy this thing from me, I'll teach you the algorithm. I can tell you right now that algorithm for every social media thing changes every month. There is absolutely no reason to buy something that tells you an algorithm. It's going to change, and it also changes based on where you live. It changes based on what niche you're in, what hashtags you're using. There's absolutely no reason for any of that, and I'm going to get attacked for that online probably. but it's the truth. I've been doing this. I've been doing this since before Twitter was here. So yeah, I know. I stumbled because of the name. Excuse me.
Whatever wants to be called today.
Yeah, whatever we're calling it today. But and then now it's crazy. Now I do a morning show on some app called Clapper that is completely just a joke off Twitter. I don't know how this worked. Or TikTok. I don't know how this happened. But then Twitter's oh, now you can go live, and I'm like, okay, that's cool, man. I guess I have to do this. But I put all my time into learning how social media works so that I can play D&D better. This is the most backwards thing in the whole world, but somehow D&D is now, their Dungeons and Dragons has become like my full-time career. And I mean, that's hilariously fun and all, but one of the things that I always talk to people about is like, you know, you need to really make sure that you love the back end side of it too. Like, I graduated from college with an MBA in marketing and like business and like running a business. Originally I wanted to be a lobbyist, and then somehow I ended up owning a restaurant, and then I ended up owning an esports company, and then I helped run Super Smash Con and all this other stuff and all these different conventions. And then they were like, "Oh, you used to do restaurant stuff. Can you help me do all my social media for my restaurants?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, why not?" So like, but the back end of it is like, no matter what your hobby is, if you want to make it a career, it's going to be a lot of monotonous, silly, everyday work that you have to make sure that you're able to sit down and be like, "Yeah, I'm willing to do this." Especially if you're going to go into YouTube or content creation. There's so much extra stuff that's involved in that. Or like, I'm gonna start drawing comics soon for our D&D stuff, and I can pump out artwork forever, all day long. The second they're like, make a comic out of it, I was like, yeah, man, let's do that. And I sat down and looked at it, I was like, no, what? I was like, this is not the thing I can do off the top of my head. Or like you said, you were doing animation at one point. I was coding at one point. And like 4 days into learning how to like actually code something beyond like just the building blocks, I threw it all out. I was like, I can't do this. This is not me. I have ADHD. Hell no. But yeah, that's kind of where I was going with that, just because of her authenticity thing, and also, I mean, you're running an esports team right now that is working with a bunch of different companies. So you know what I'm saying when it's like, there's so many extra steps to what this is, and. It's wild.
And it definitely takes a team. At first, you know, with my esports team just being brand new, I was doing a lot of it on my own. I know the person who was talking about AI a little earlier. I use ChatGPT a lot, actually, just to help me with content, like in terms of social media posts, writing up emails for me, because as much as I love writing, I'm not so good at the professional part yet in terms of writing. So just using resources like that just helps me a ton. It also saves a lot of time as well, since I was doing a lot of the stuff by myself. Fushi, probably, so sorry, but a lot of the Discord posts I put in there are probably from ChatGPT. I know, I'm a liar, but it's such a good time saver, honestly. And I use it primarily to help with written content, and then from there, obviously, I will tweak it to better fit my voice and my tone. But yeah, and Wei had mentioned, doing certain tasks or activities that help relate to what you want to get to. Kind of like, I guess, due diligence in a way. So like, I'm a writer. I knew I always wanted to be a writer. And I actually first started in journalism track in college. I did 5 internships at newspapers and magazine publications. It turned out I actually hated it. Didn't want to do it anymore. But when I was an intern, I remember covering a lot of the gaming conventions, and that was my beat. I loved gaming, and so I still found a way to help relate what I was good at writing and what I was really passionate about. So as a journalist, like, I'd go to these conventions, and first of all, I'd get free passes, it was great, and then I get to write about it when I get home. And that love kind of just evolved, and I found out about communications. It's written, but it's also the graphic design aspect kind of put together. I didn't know how to do graphic design, so I decided to take some courses on Udemy. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but Udemy, very fantastic website. They have a lot of courses there. So I taught myself how to do graphic design, and I ended up, getting communication positions, and I ended up landing one at EA. I'm pretty new. A couple days will actually be my 1-year anniversary at EA, and thank you. Yeah, so it's been a really awesome, career path. It was totally accidental. It really started with my content creating, with my cute game room, with my ex. And it kind of just really evolved from there.
The pink side was the cooler side.
The pink side was cute, yes, but the other side was also kind of cool, I guess.
You're very PC.
Think about your stories.
I was gonna say that if you designed it.
Yeah, you helped design it, so
Yeah.
it's perfect about it.
Yeah, I did design his room too. It was all me. Like,
So, yeah, it's still cool. Was a gift to someone who didn't deserve it.
yeah, I know.
There it
But
is.
aside from that, I'm happy to hear how like all these different steps inside your life all build up to what you do now, and that's your hobby as your career. I think that's
Yeah.
a really cool thing. Yeah, I was gonna ask you on something.
Sure. I think that Wei and Sam both brought up really good points with their like college degrees. That none of us have degrees in like Dungeons and Dragons and gaming. Unfortunately, I would have had a much better time in college if I did. My degree is in computer science, and I got most of the way through and decided that I didn't really vibe with it. So I finished it off and then wasn't quite sure what I was going to do, but. I didn't get involved in like the gaming side as much, even though that's still an important part of my life. I volunteer and work at a summer camp for most of my life. So I learned about, games and interacting with the youth that way. And I happened, thanks to, Alex telling me about an open position, I happened into student life at a community college. And that's what I do now, and it's awesome. I get to apply some of my skills that I picked up there. I get to, do games, organize the students, interact with the youths. I don't personally use AI that much in my job, but that's just because at any given point, I probably have like a big pool of students out in front of me, and I can just go ask them if I need, I guess. Yeah, exactly. I have a whole committee whose job is to go do that and go poll the students. What do you guys want? So it's pretty cool.
So normally the second part of the panel is we'll take questions, or if you guys have any thoughts or anything like that we don't have to argue about AI wise. I think that'd be great. I was like, I can talk about AI. I can talk about AI for the next like 45 minutes. There's no reason to do. Like, it's just a tool.
Totally AI related question. So, do you have any advice for someone who's like a total Luddite and doesn't do social media about how to start and learn about it? And because I grew up before social media was a thing, so and I never really got into it. So, but it sounds like it's a very important part of promoting.
Okay, so for instance, what would you want to build a business on it, or do you want to build your audience for a business on it? It's
Right.
two different
Yeah. So I mean, I like doing art, like collage work and stuff like that,
Awesome.
and would love to make that my day job.
So, I mean, like, realistically, you should just, it's one of those things that it's like getting in the water for the first time in the summer. You just figure out, like, okay, like, as for instance, for you, it would be, what is it, Meta called? It's called Meta now?
It's Meta.
It's still Instagram. I can call it Instagram and everybody knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's
fantastic.
Yeah.
Great.
Meta's the business.
Yes, you would just use Instagram, use for artwork. I mean, Facebook is still really good, but
Facebook, Instagram, I've heard Pixave on the eastern side.
yeah,
All these
there you go.
different platforms. Just post out your artwork and
Just-
keep working on it.
And then, like, do you actually show yourself making the artwork? Because, like, I used to watch a shit ton of videos on mixed media collages, and look, they were like, hey, I took this random piece of cardboard that I found on the street yesterday, and look, it's now a beautiful art piece. And you'd be like, go find that, just like that piece of cardboard. You start looking for stuff like that. But I would have never got that idea had I not seen this tutorial of someone.
Right, but so the idea is, like, if you just start, so there's something that was there.
Right.
Because you can't build something with nothing there. There's always a foundation.
And then
So
you
even
place
if it's like what is it like you're never gonna get to like your best piece of work if you haven't started. Like, you have to learn how to do art. You have to start somewhere. So as long as you start doing it, then you can start looking at, like, okay, well, other people that other people that do this, what are their hashtags? Okay, so these hashtags have this, and like there are like little things you can do, and all of that honestly is on YouTube. Like, you can go to YouTube and just learn like half of it, and then you talk to people like us that help you, or myself that is a social media manager, and would help you be able to like hone in what you're doing and polish it. But the idea is you have to figure it. You have to start somewhere, and then people will gravitate towards it at some point with it. Because if you're doing it other people will find you that are doing it as well.
And there's a lot of online resources. Udemy is just one platform I mentioned. They offer courses. A lot of them are free. Some of them you can pay for, but a majority, especially social media, they're probably free courses. YouTube, like Wei mentioned. And there are tons of people, I'm sure, that would volunteer their time to help you with your social media too, because people are always looking to get into social media marketing. It's exploding right now as a career pathway. So people are just looking to do it, even on a volunteer basis. So if it's something that you're looking for and you need help with, I'm sure there are probably people that can help as well.
Well, that's a great point because there are so many different communities of people who there are more people who want to help you than want to be against you. So a lot of people you can kind of pull and ask, hey, what's working right now, what's not. A lot of it is just experimentation and then going in and checking in your analytics to see what works for you. Because there are articles that try to tell you this is the best time to post, but that doesn't work for everyone. They just take a general sample size and be like, okay, this is the number. I'm going to tell everyone 6 p.m. on a Tuesday. And that necessarily, it could be, 5 p.m. on a Friday for you. Like there's going to be all these different things where you just have to do, and starting is scary, but and just starting and analyzing what's working and what's not and figuring out why it's not so that way it will work for you. And something Wei said that I was going to mention is absolutely looking at who your competitors are. Not necessarily saying that you're going to, be up against these people, but having a starting place of what's working for them will allow you to see if it works for you too.
In creation also, art-wise, there's always like large communities of just creators.
Right.
And they're all generally helping each other.
So like
That's what it is.
Facebook for large community groups, something like that. Join, I don't know, 100 of them. There's thousands of them. And just be like, hey.
Or 5.
I guess 10 that's fine. Start off with 5 to, I would join 100, right? That's just me. I'd be like, oh, there's 100. Just click,
You
click,
and I are
click.
doing different things at this point.
And I would do that just because that would give me a whole lot of feedback and it would give me like a whole lot of traffic to like my first videos. I'd be like, hey, this is my first video. What do you think? And I would post that in all 100 groups. Because that's just me. You can start with 5. Okay? I'm just telling you, but like that's what I would do.
Connections are definitely super important. If you do something like that, you might get flagged as a bot, so be careful with that. But my advice is to definitely find your audience and find the medium that works best for your audience and for your content. So if you're if you're trying to like appeal to the youths, then Instagram and TikTok are most popular with them. Whereas if you're going for an older audience, maybe Facebook. If you're looking for short-term versus long-term content, TikTok versus YouTube with that. If you're making videos, so it's kind of up to you. Managing like 6 or 8 different platforms when you have to like resize the graphics for each one. It can be a lot. So focusing on.
So I'll give you my email address afterwards.
Okay, thank you.
I got you.
Yeah. Like how long do you typically give time for a strategy? I would say like a marketing campaign or a campaign strategy until you realize that it's not worth your time anymore.
I think that's a wonderful question, and I think it depends on what your overall objective is. Because it can vary between a span of a couple of weeks to a couple of months, but I would say don't keep trying something that's not working. Right. So I would say generally maybe it depends on if you want to gain this number of views or followers or whatnot, or if you want to narrow it even down and be like, I want this number of clicks or I want this number of likes. So I would say sometimes with social, especially how Wei said that algorithm's changing monthly, you do need to give it some time and see if it's going to change in your favor. But I would generally say a couple of weeks to maybe a month would be something to try and then reevaluate, check those numbers and see if it's working for you or not.
You should decide on your goal for your campaign. And so for you, it's probably selling comics. Okay. So if your goal is to say, I want to get my brand out there or my thing out there, but I also need to sell comics so that I can keep doing this. If you haven't broken even after like the 6-week mark, you need to reevaluate what you're doing and how to do it.
I would say
that would be the way to do it. You tweak it as you go, but but if it you'll know if it nosedives. But after 6 weeks, if you're not breaking even in the course of like, this is worth it to me to keep putting in this much money to do this campaign, then you need to like reevaluate and tweak what's going on. Maybe change the target audience a little bit differently. Change which tags you're using. Look at what places it's going. Like really like take in that idea and then tweak it. But 6 weeks is generally a good consensus for selling something like a comic book.
Yeah. Your time frame, it really depends like on your own project. So with EA, for example, large part of my job is creating not necessarily marketing campaigns, because my job it's about the employees. So, the newsletter, for example, is a part of my job for my employees. So I look at the metrics month to month just to see are there dips in click rates, for example. Same with social media. So I look at it on a month to month basis just to see how are my metrics. Are they dipping certain months? Are they dipping during the holidays? Christmas is coming up, for example. Are they dipping around then? Are they increasing around the new year? And then I look at why. Why is that? Is the holidays? Is there some kind of event happening with EA? Is there new games coming out at EA? UFC 5 just came out the other day. So who knows? And then with that, not only do I look at it month to month, I also look at it year to year. So I like to compare the metrics from what this year is to last year, the last 5 years, maybe the last even 10 years, just depending how long this has been going on. And I just look at my overall growth and then see what is working, what's not working, what do I need to change. And she had mentioned look at your competitors as well, not so much to copy your competitors, but to see how their metrics are also evolving. Is it on par with competitor analysis? Are their metrics also increasing, and are your metrics increasing? Are their metrics decreasing? Does that make sense as a market? Is the market overall decreasing, and if so, are my metrics decreasing? And it just makes sense. So it would just really depend on your own personal projects and goals. But
Can I have one more
absolutely
quick question? How often do you update your newsletter?
So at EA, we do a weekly newsletter, and that just works for us. Our employees. So I work with EA Help specifically, that department. So a lot of our employees are just very busy. They're helping you guys with any kind of technical issues with games, any kind of EA Origin issues, for example. So our employees are too busy to read. So because of that, they really are. They're just too busy to read. But that's important to know. You have to know your audience. It's a huge thing. Know your audience. And so because we know they're just too busy to read long form information, we cut our information smaller chunks every week. So yeah, they're more frequent, but they're easy to read. Quick glance, you're done. And then you got a week's worth of news. And a lot of our information, a lot of it is written, but they're very short chunks. We do a lot of graphic information too, to make sure that you can just look at the information and they can get what they need from that. So for us, it just works weekly. I've worked at prior companies, doing the same thing with newsletters and stuff, but that was monthly, for example. But it really just depends on your audience.
And something I might add as well, kind of going back to your previous question about measuring something and seeing if it's working or not. Generally, I wouldn't delete the things that you think don't perform as well. Because one, especially if you put a lot of time into it, but two, sometimes those videos will get picked back up. And there's no reason to delete it unless you feel strongly about deleting it. Versus, sometimes it might take a couple of months, but something will catch. And then all of a sudden you'll see a lot of engagement or views from that too.
Right.
So,
do you have a funnel or something that you use to go from social media to a landing page to your sale or something of your comic book?
I was really heavy into funneling when my comics digitally, but people didn't really want. I came to the conclusion that people might not want to buy digital comics, so I'm trying to jump. So I felt like I needed to jump ship or try something new. So that's why I'm pushing more physical. So I feel like I've been selling at the flea markets and farmers markets since this year, and I've had more success talking to people face to face than doing online funnels. So.
Well, I was asking, just because, I assume you're doing organic and not necessarily paid or something?
I tried the hybrid. Sometimes I try organic. Other times, if I don't feel like that works, then I try organic. Then I try organic and then paid. I'm trying to figure out like what works. So I've been doing this for a while. So I'm just trying to.
I'm gonna ask you questions after this. So.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I just kind of wanted to get kind of like an idea of exactly what you were talking about specifically. Just because, in terms of like the length of something, I find like when I'm kind of like messing like with organic and stuff like that, I do sort of kind of do like a 30-day evaluation and just kind of go back and iterate what they said. It's like you really don't necessarily always know what's going to work, and so for like that 30 days, I would throw shit against the wall just to figure out what sticks, right? And then you can kind of go back and start optimizing like about kind of what's working. And so one of the things that like I know is that when people get to my landing page, like it's about a 24% conversion in the sense that I get their name and their email address. So now that customer is not just a nameless person that I picked up from social media. I can now continue to market to them through email. And so that's what I was trying to understand about your landing page. Because if you're giving them if you're giving them something that's worth their name and their email address, that customer is now worth a lot more. Maybe not up front, but down the road, you can continue to sell them your series. And so if that person, just like books, if you bought the series 1 of that book and you loved it, you're more likely to buy the next ones over and over. You know what I'm saying? So it's not that digital may or may not work. It might be that maybe your digital needs to be on like Amazon digital type of thing. Maybe they don't necessarily like it as a PDF, but maybe they would like it in a Kindle format, or maybe they would like it as a web comic type of format. You see what I'm saying? So there's different things that you could test, but like if you could, maybe you can give away like a free quill or kind of like a sample of the first few pages to get the reader or something hooked, and see if they would then buy your first one at like a discount. And then you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what you're looking at in the sense of having people from social media, because you want to capture their information, right? Because I don't know about you, but Facebook has gone through so many algorithm changes, and it drives me nuts, right? Just in the sense of, I can make a post. Sorry.
I'm sorry, guys.
No, I got you.
You have something else to
Sorry,
ask.
yeah.
You.
Okay, so question. So I'm 16, so I don't need to get super into stuff now at this age, but let's say that I was thinking about maybe in the next half a year starting a web comic or some sort of comic series. What's a good starting point for promoting that or trying to get it out there?
DeviantArt.
DeviantArt? Okay.
Working my day and working today's too.
Yeah.
And then
Absolutely be safe on the internet, because the internet can be scary.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Great. Fantastic. Please don't get in people's cars unless you're doing. No. Okay. I'm sorry. I have to make jokes out of everything. But no, DeviantArt, and then also there's this big idea of if you just have characters that people generate want to gravitate towards, just having those posted places and then talking about them. Because people will be like, oh, that's really cool, I want to see more about that. Where's that from? Stuff like that. And then making sure that you have a place that they can ask questions to that is not your personal. So, yeah. You want to have your own separate, this is where junk can go so that I can ignore 30% of these things when it's just complete garbage that's coming through.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Do you think it's better to diversify your portfolio or pursue more of a serial format starting out? So is it better to start a bunch of different projects and finish them, or put not all your eggs in one basket, but kind of have one series going on, even if it doesn't pick up right away?
What's interesting about that is I started my career because I was playing World of Warcraft and I put a bunch of people through college. I was one of the first WoW people to get a sponsorship, and I worked with Blizzard because they were like, hey, you're bringing like 10,000 people to our game every month, and I was like one of the first BlizzCon guests, but I hate World of Warcraft. So
I'm live streaming way.
still hate you. No. But anyway, what I'm saying is,
Strongly dislike.
you have to be able to, you have to understand when you can pivot and not be scared to do it. So like, for instance, like I said, I played WoW like forever. Like I was like the poster child for World of Warcraft for like the first 2 expansions of this dumb game. And then League of Legends came out, and I was like, this is a better game. And everybody was like, you should not go to it. You're making all of the money playing World of Warcraft. And I was like, I don't care. And so
You started out all in on World
I did. I started all.
You didn't like diversify with like
No, I didn't.
Warcraft here, RuneScape there.
No, I completely missed Halo. Like 100%. Like everybody jokes about, like everybody's like, oh, I was a Halo player back then. I was like, I didn't know that game existed because I was all in. But then, like the reason I'm saying this is the flip side is right now, like because of COVID, because of a giant injury I had, I couldn't game anymore. So my friend was like, now you're going to be our DM for D&D, and but like thinking about like what that is like I'm not all in on it. Like I play a ton of Dungeons and Dragons, but it's like my own homebrew thing. It's our whole home thing. But also I am helping. Okay.
Yeah, to explicitly answer your question, it's because it's a hobby. Choose what your hobby is. If you want to do one hobby, if you want to do 10 hobbies, it's up to you.
Yeah.
Do your passion, yeah.
Thanks. Anyway, we just got to
All
look
the time we have.
Yeah,
So thank you all so much.
I'll be right outside. I'll talk about it later.
Blizzard
knows how I feel.
I hate World of Warcraft. You were just geeking out over World of Warcraft.
Oh, it is.
That's Microsoft. Yeah, what's up, man?
Oh, yeah, that's Microsoft.